Beau of the Fifth Column recently discussed the moves taken by District Attorney Alvin Bragg to prevent Jim Jordan and Sinister Company from interfering with an investigation. Surprise, surprise, we got more MAGA obstruction of justice, whether it is an actual charge of obstruction of justice or if it's just a legal attempt to prevent justice from being sought in the United States. They're doing what Republicans have always done, and that is try to break the law and get away with it. Or try to just, let's call it more broadly what they always do, try to harm America and get away with it. It may, though, not be a fight that Jim Jordan actually wants to win. You consider why he's doing this, which is politics. He's got what he needed already, and he may be informed politely by somebody that works for him, or maybe he's figured this out himself. If he wins this fight, he will be setting a precedent which can be and should be used against Republicans and those that support him. Let's let our man Beau of the Fifth Column talk about it.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again.
Howdy, Beau.
Today we are going to talk about Trump's New York case. But we're not really going to talk much about the case. We're going to talk about the back and forth between the local and federal government that is going on. Because you have Bragg in the DA's office, and you have Jordan and Republicans up in Congress. Jordan has indicated that he would like to investigate the charging decision. Bragg is obviously not in favor of this. So, legal channels all over YouTube are going to go through the filing, line by line by line, I'm sure.
I don't know if Legal Eagle, a.k.a. the Internet's lawyer, has done this yet, but if they do, and I fail to mention it, let me know. Because I love those breakdowns. But all right, let's see what Beau has to say.
Short version, there's a subpoena that Congress has put out. The local DA doesn't really want it enforced. Bragg doesn't want it enforced, and filed suit to stop that and get some other relief. What are the main arguments here? From Congress, from Jordan's standpoint, at some point during some part of the investigation, the local prosecutor used some federal money. Therefore, Congress has the power to interject themselves into the charging decision. That's generally what it is. I know somebody's going to say, well, it's about oversight. No, it certainly appears intended to affect the outcome. I would point out that even in response to the suit, Jordan said, first, they indict a president for no crime. It's designed to influence the outcome.
So real quick, I don't think we're going to have a lot of MAGA supporters checking out this video in particular. So mostly for you that do watch this video, point out that little factoid to MAGA folks if you come in contact with them in the wild. Jordan says that this subpoena's over nothing, or excuse me, that the indictment's over nothing. How does Jim Jordan know that? Isn't that the point of a trial? Why does he disagree with what the grand jury has to say? Why is his opinion superior? It's not. There's an obvious answer there. It's not. He's wrong. He's wrong. I can't imagine that the arguments Jim Jordan will make will hold up in front of any judge, including a Trump appointee. Part of the reason why, Beau will explain perfectly, and I'm just going to let him go. But remember that as a talking point for when you're talking to MAGA folks. Why does Jim Jordan know more than the people of the United States who will be asked to render their judgment? Why does he know more than a judge? Why does he know something that a prosecutor who's built an entire case apparently doesn't? And the answer will be obvious.
Now, from Bragg's position, this is not how our country's set up. It violates basic premises of federalism. The federal government can't interject into local matters like this, and there's two reasons for that. One is, again, the way the country is set up. The second is they literally can't. They can't, meaning they don't have the ability to do this. You can't micromanage the United States to this level. It's huge. And then I'm sure that Bragg is aware that the hearings are designed to influence the outcome. So Bragg is trying to stop it. Now, what's going to happen? I don't know. Those are your two arguments. Now, my understanding is that, yes, the DA's office did use federal money. Does that give Congress enough juice to actually...
Sorry, I got to jump in. I do know. There's no way. There's no way. I don't really know. I don't have a crystal ball. But I just can't see a judge, literally any judge, saying, no, Jim Jordan's within his rights here. No, don't have anything to add. It's just, it seems, in order to, even if you're a Trump judge and you don't give a fuck about the country or justice or fairness or anything like that, one thing about the American justice system is that it relies on precedent. And if you set this, you're opening up, even if you only care about doing awful right-wing things, you're undoing so much of the structure of the way our country works that it can and will be used against the very things that you want to support.
Interject to this level? I don't think so. But I don't know what a judge is going to decide. So that's what's going on, and it's probably going to get very, very messy. There's another type of law that I think is important to bring up at this point, and it's the law of unintended consequences. Let's say Jordan is successful in this, and that gets established. That's how things are going to go now. If the federal government gave money and then some portion of that money got used in some way that somebody in the federal government doesn't like, they can haul people into D.C. and stage a giant show. Have hearings about it. If somebody offered that, if I was sitting at a table and somebody was like, House Republicans, who are notorious for being incapable of putting on a good hearing, are going to investigate Bragg in the DA's office. But it opens the door for oversight of any local office that has at any point in time taken federal money. Would you take the deal? Absolutely. Absolutely. Set this up. Let's do this. Because I have a feeling that if this is pushed through and that this is how things are going to run from now on, I want you to think about all the things around you that have federal funding that have issues right now. That school up the road from you, do you think any federal funding was used in the planning, running, or construction of that school at any point in time? I bet it was. So
To add on to that, which states get more federal funding? Red states. This would, I mean, on balance, this would be a terrible way to run the United States. But if this is how a corrupt judge chooses to side with a corrupt congressman, what they will be opening up the GOP for is a world of whooping. In addition, the people who are willing to argue a, let's call it, difficult case, and the people who are able to argue a difficult case, generally, that particular Venn diagram has only a very narrow sliver in the middle. And the percentage of that sliver which are Republicans is zero, my knowledge. Would have been, I don't know, Kinzinger, Cheney back in the day, but anybody who has an ability to earn a living without making minorities of some sort a target does so outside of the Republican Party at this point, from what I've seen.
I would imagine that school board members could be brought in to talk about books they banned or students that they are treating less than equally. If Jordan gets his way, there's going to be a lot of really upset Republican governors. I don't know how this is going to play out, but this is one of those things that will start dominoes falling. So be aware. There's a subpoena. Bragg's trying to fight the subpoena. And what happens and how this moves forward is going to determine a lot. There are some people who have asked, well, why can't the DA go after Congress, those who are trying to influence the outcome? Generally speaking, Congress is protected under something called the Speech and Debate Clause. That protects speech and debate. It really isn't established how much it protects actions. There might be other things that come of this as well on that ground. But expect this to be going on for the next few weeks and turn into a giant thing. I would suggest that by the end of it, no matter how it turns out, I don't think Republicans are going to get what they want. No matter how they feel about Bragg didn't indict Trump. The grand jury did. And that's something that has to be remembered. This, the political posturing may just draw a whole bunch of attention to something that would be detrimental to the Republican Party. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Delightful. We'll go into into what the wicked audience has to say about this in a moment. Let's just say what you can do right off the bat. Give D.A. Bragg some backup. I'll explain why in a moment, but I don't think that I don't agree necessarily that the people who did this particular political move won't get what they want. I think Jim Jordan already got what he wants. But the fact is, as long as Bragg is the only person is the only person who's making visible progress on a Trump case, Bragg will be a target. He'll be a target of fascist lawmakers, traitorous lawmakers. He'll be a target of traitorous Americans all over, including those that vote in the traitorous lawmakers. Think of it like if you've ever had one of those electricity producing machines, and if you just touch it with your fingertip, it hurts. But if you put your whole palm on it, the electricity spreads out, and it doesn't hurt. This is the exact same scenario, but in terms of political pressure. If you are from one of the 5 outstanding fake elector states where the fake elector plot, as outlined in the January 6th committee's report, took place, contact your attorney general and tell them you want a case started at the state level. They've all put in their excuses. They've all said, well, Merrick Garland is looking into this. Bullshit, says the Master Sergeant. No, we're not tracking on that. No, sir. I've been watching that channel a lot. The point is, that is an excuse. There has been enough time passed that the people that put these attorney generals into the positions they hold have good cause to believe that Merrick Garland is either unwilling or unable to take this seriously. He has had plenty of time. I don't care how many fancy Dans get up in front of network television cameras and say, well, it's a very serious case, and so these things require time. Nonsense. Just nonsense. If the American Department of Justice is able to prosecute such a crime quickly, it should have done it now. If the American Department of Justice is really not able to put together a case where the guy does most of the crimes in front of cameras in this amount of time, then we need to fix that system. And that is a conversation to worry about after we got these crooks. Get your states involved. Link in the description. As our own Wicked Foxy Dragon pointed out, in Nevada, you can file a complaint. Links in the description. File that complaint. Don't let it stand, and don't let Alvin Bragg fight this fight alone. Get your attorney general, if you're from one of those states, in on it. They have the ability. Dana Nessel has demonstrated that after she reopened her case into the Michigan fake electors. Fani Willis and the attorney general in that state have demonstrated that Georgia is able to do the same. All of these states can open a state-level investigation, and they should. Give Alvin Bragg some backup. Now, as for the what did Jim Jordan want to gain from this? Look, here's the maybe one of the few benefits to the fact that this is a in the GOP right now. It's, well, always really. It's just a coalition of people that care only about themselves. Jim Jordan doesn't give a damn about Donald Trump. If Donald Trump chokes on a chicken wing tomorrow, and that's it for him, Jim Jordan will not shed a tear unless the cameras are on him. He does not care. He doesn't care. What did he want to get? Did he actually want to save Trump? No. He's auditioning for re-election. He knows he's not going to get anything of substance done. He's just putting on a show for his terrible voters because he's a terrible person. And that's all that is. So he got what he wants. I don't think he's going to fight particularly hard. I think he's going to Mike Pence this. And that would be the advice I'd give him. Put up a weak fight and call it a day. Because he literally can't win. Either he's unsuccessful in court, in which case he loses, or he's successful in court, in which case he and his whole party loses. Because they're losers.